May 11, 2011, PETA wrote on their webpage that poisoning, shocking, burning, and killing animals is all in a day's work for vivisections. So, vivisections are the practice of cutting into or using invasive techniques on live animals. If these atrocious acts were committed outside laboratories, they would be felonies, but animals suffer and die every day in laboratories with little or no protection from cruelty. Without knowing, the perfume or cologne that you put on this morning was most likely tested on an animal before it was put up for sale. So these are some of the perfumes that test on animals for sure. So Giorgio Armani, Ralph Lauren, Tom Ford, Estee Lauder, Tommy Hilfiger, and Dolce & Gabbana. So what you need to know is that animal testing is bad science. It's very unreliable, and the media wants you to think that if they don't test on animals, then they'll have to test on humans, and no one would agree to that. So for the past months, I have been avoiding brands that are said to participate in animal testing. I do my research before wanting to buy any product that could potentially have been tested on an animal. Animal experimentation is harmful and unnecessary, and I will show you the two of the major problems on this subject, what it causes, and hopefully by the end of my speech, you are convinced to avoid some of the products and brands. So what is the problem with animal testing? Animal experimenting is unethical and inhumane. Not only those, but animals are also far different from human beings and therefore make poor and unreliable test subjects. According to an article named "Should Animals Be Used for Scientific or Commercial Testing?" by the Pros and Cons website, it states that animals used in experiments are subjected to forced inhalation, which is breathing, forced feeding, food and water deprivation, extremely long periods of physical restraint, the infliction of burns and other types of wounds to study the healing process, and also killing carbon dioxide asphyxiation. These are all the complications and processes that animals go through in order to validate that the products are safe for humans. So, for example, when testing whether shampoos or other products will cause irritation to the eyes, they do what is called the dry eye test. So this test involves rabbits being incapacitated in stocks with their eyelids held open by clips for several days so that they are incapable of blinking and washing away the product that is being tested. According to an article named Animal Use and Research in the NIAVS.org website, it states that using animals to test products is not only unsafe but also expensive, time-consuming, and unreliable. The differences in anatomy, organ structure and function, toxin metabolism, and chemical and drug absorption can give us inadequate information when we attempt to apply animal data to human diseases and drug responses. So on the Los Angeles Times newspaper, in an article named "Cancer Drugs Face Long Road for Mice to Men," it states that the former director of the National Cancer Institute had found a cure for cancer in mice, but it did not work on humans. This is why I believe that using animals as testers is very unreliable and a waste of time, because it is said that about 92 out of every 100 drugs that passes on animals fails in humans. So now that I have discussed the two major problems with animal testing, I will now explain the causes they have. Because the majority of the products and brands that we use on a daily basis participate on animal testing, people tend to make excuses in their heads to justify the experimentation. One of the excuses that people use is, animals are here for humans to use. If we have to sacrifice 1,000 or 100,000 animals in the hope of benefiting one child, it's worth it. But think about it this way: if experimenting on one intellectually disabled person could benefit 1,000 children, would we do it? Well, that's how PETA sees this. According to their article named "Animal Testing is Bad Science," they say that experimenters claim a right to inflict pain on animals based on their physical and mental characteristics, such as animals' supposed lack of reason. But if lack of reason truly justified animal experimentation, experimenting on human beings with inferior mental capabilities such as infants and the intellectually disabled would also be acceptable. It is unethical to make animals an exception to testing because of their lack of reason, just as it would be unethical to test on the mentally disabled because of their lack of reason as well. This also causes people to think that science has a responsibility to use animals to keep looking for cures for all the horrible diseases that people suffer from. What really is happening is that animal experimentation is gobbling up billions of dollars, including the 40% of all research funding from the U.S. National Institutes of Health. Animal testing testing is continuing to increase, while places like alcohol and drug treatment centers, prenatal care programs, community mental health clinics, and trauma units continue to suffer closures because they lack sufficient funds. So it doesn't make sense to be spending money on animal experimentation when all these places are being closed down. Now that you have heard the major problems of animal experimentation and taken a look at the causes, I will now provide you with 2 possible solutions. So there are 2 ways you can go about this issue, and one would be converting to a vegan or just using cruelty-free products. So why should you go vegan? Well, for 2 important reasons: for the animals and for your health. Being vegan is much like being vegetarian, where you only eat vegetables and no animals at all. The difference is that vegans also don't eat dairy products or anything that requires animal labor. They also avoid products that have been tested on animals or made from animal skins and fur. So that's including leather, fur, wool, and silk. According to the Vegan Society website, more and more people are turning to a vegan diet for health benefits, which are increased energy, having younger skin, and eternal youth are just some of the claims for enthusiastic plant eaters. Becoming vegan from one day to another might sound very drastic to some of us, so another possible solution would be using products that confirm they are cruelty-free, products or that are labeled not tested on animals. Pay attention to labels before you actually purchase a product. You can also use this website. It's on PETA.org. It also already lists some of the companies and brands that definitely test on animals, and some of those are Airwick, Axe, Revlon, Arm & Hammer, Band-Aid, Avon Products, L'Oreal, Estee Lauder, Chapstick, Clean and Clear, Dolce & Gabbana, Gillette, Giorgio Armani. Sorry, here I typed in Giorgio Armani, and then on that side it says why this company does test on. So you can just type whatever company you want and it'll tell you. So now that we know the problems with animal experimentation and some possible solutions, let's wrap this up. Animal experimentation not only is a cruel and inhumane thing to do, but it also affects the funding for other important things that are necessary for one's health. As individuals, it's our responsibility to let the companies know that we are not okay with animal testing. Remember that an animal's lack of reason does not give the okay to companies to use them as testers. As PETA says, the world doesn't need another eyeliner, hand soap, food ingredient, drug for erectile dysfunction, or pesticide so badly that it should come to the expense of an animal's lives. Yeah.